person knows what they don't want to do, but they're less clear about what they do want to do. And there is a big difference. And I was like that actually myself when I was exploring options. I knew I didn't want to do what I was doing, but it was so hard to define or to at least have a structure to be more clear about what I do want to do and why I want to do that. So I would say this is the main challenge, although it comes in different flavors depending on your kind of individual situation. But it's about people reaching out to get that greater clarity, what they do want to do, at least in this point in life. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to figure out the rest of their life, but at least to figure out and get some clarity for this transitional step. I tend to concentrate mostly on the self-discovery, that inner reflective work that we've talked about before. And I introduced this really simple model, which is not unlike how you are when you're with patients. So it's a 4-step model. Self-discovery first, which is step number 1, when you're kind of just becoming aware that something is not right, or maybe things are okay, but I just need to get the spice back in my professional career. In terms of like drawing a parallel to how you're with a patient, this is the step where you take a history from a patient, and that forms the basis for everything else that will happen with that patient and the ultimate outcome. Step number 2 is considering the options in terms of what you could do. But this has to be done in the context of knowing yourself and having really taken some time to do this self-discovery process. This is very similar. I'll draw a parallel to when you're with a patient. This is when you examine them. And you examine them, hopefully, if you can, in the context of having taken the history. It just makes so much more sense. Step number 3 is when you're kind of more close to be making an informed decision, which again is in the context of self-discovery and having considered your options. Parallel to a patient, this is when you would consider differential diagnosis, having taken history and examined them. And step number 4 is plan implementation, both in terms of career planning and your patient. You would always go back to reassessing your patient after you've administered some treatment. And the same with career planning. No matter where you are, even if you're really happy with your career, there is always a place to take a step back for self-discovery. If things are going well, what are you doing that is going well? How can you amplify that? If things are not going well, what can I do to spice it up? So it's a constant process, and you go through this process throughout your life. And I cannot emphasize enough how important that first step, self-discovery, is. That really drives the rest of that model.